So good afternoon, everybody. It's lovely to be the opening speaker for the MoonCon Spring 2023. Yeah, it's just so good to open this beautiful show of authors. So I'm Carrie Day. I'm also known as Carol Day. I'm the author of two books published by Moon Books, Story Compass and Trees Are Our Letters. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about Bardic Nature and Trees. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the talk and the meditation that I have as a part of it as well. But what I thought I'd do, because I'm the opener of I'm the opening talk, is just take us through a little meditation and space opening now. Just setting the stage really for the day. So I just invite you to just come into the present moment and just notice how you're feeling right now. Just being aware of the room that you're in, the land that you're on, this beautiful planet that we all share together. And just feeling into the land around you, the trees, the birds, different plants and creatures that are there. And just noticing the time of year that we're in. Springtime is approaching, the end of winter. If you're in the northern hemisphere, if you're in the southern hemisphere, then connecting to autumn equinox, autumn approaching, still in summer. And then let's cast our awareness out to the moon. The moon as the guardian, as the beautiful name of this, an energy of this publishing company, Moon Books, part of a bigger book company, but this beautiful division that is Moon Books, and just connecting to that moon, honouring the moon and that reflective connection to inner processes and caretaker, satellite, faithful energy that the moon has as it watches over our earth. And invite you to just connect with the joy of being alive, part of nature. I invite you to feel a circle of light around you right now, with the anchors of north, east, south and west. Feeling the geographical alignment with the land that you're on. And then a circle of light around the space that we're all in together. Just feel a central column moving through this space, moving through all frequencies and dimensions, so that we can feel ourselves inside an orb of light, individually and together. And I call this space the wholeness template. It's a place that brings in the capacities of resonance and infinite medicine. With the anchors of the north, with the physical realms, physical body, the present moment. The anchors of the east, with the lifeline, all the moments of your life so far, all the information there. The anchors of the south, your life lines pre you that were the ancestral banks, all the information and stories that are there, and then moving through to the west, which I hold as the archetypal realms, the realm of myth, all the expressions of all the different deities and the forces that move through us too. This space I call the Four Directions Theatre. It's a space of healing and holding. This space is clear and this space is open. So thank you. That's a little opening that I often begin with, but we did it in a special way this afternoon for Moon Books as well. Um, yeah, so the bardic nature, that's the theme of this talk today, and trees. I want to talk a little bit about bard, about nature, and just my approach to the work that I hold really. I'm an educator. I've been working in education since, oh, forever. It feels like probably about 35 years, with through different guises, with different in different organisations. And 12 years ago, I set up a shamanic school, what I called then a shamanic school, and started working more with adults. But prior to that, I'd been working with children for a long time, had my own children, and worked with my friend Kathy Bark, who together we co-designed the curriculum for an outdoor nursery that she'd set up for preschool children, which is in Letham in Fife. It's still running now. And the curriculum that we set up, it really worked with the premise that if you just let children just be and be in nature, and you held a really safe space for them, and you had clear guidelines, and you went through the wheel of the year with them. They were outdoors in the woods. It could be really healing experience for them. And we basically merged the national curriculum in Scotland with what we called Nature as Teacher, a curriculum that instead of holding different markers of looking at assessments for what a child reached, we'd listen to that. But we had the trees as the holder of part of the curriculum, and the different medicine of the trees, and then different nature aspects as one of the other wheels that was there. And what we really saw was just how just how that imaginative play and that being together uninterrupted in this dream space, just help them to become stronger. And we had what we had was an ethical framework and an ethos that insisted on safety. And if they were feeling angry or anything, then they had places to go to express that, but not on others. But apart from that, with the rhythms and the rituals of the day, something magical could happen, and that play could just, as facilitators of that space, just showed us so much. So everything that I've done since then has really followed that. That was my leaving the education systems with younger children, and moving into working with adults. And most of what I've learned has been through watching children really, and remembering myself as a child. And what I've come up with from all of this is a practice that I call innate ways. So I'm really listening all the time to each individual that I'm working with, and to just every environment that I step into, and just looking to get closer, and bringing in what in my I'm an artist as well. In my previous life, calling in art, well, it's my current life as well, but when I was training as an artist, there's a guy called Ferris Newton who called it suspending disbelief. And it's that space of just listening, and being curious and open, that that is the ethos for the way that innate ways works. So bringing in the bard now. The bard is just something that I've come across from just being absolutely fascinated by the way that stories work, and the way that I work within my own stories, or what I notice in the plays that I enter into in life. And when I first started holding workshops with adults, I just noticed that this theatre that exists between children and in the woods and the play, it started to act out in these apparently unconscious ways with the groups that I was in as well. So I went to train as a counsellor, and as a constellation therapist, to really kind of just get into the engineering of it more, and see how I could really hold that safe and robust space, and step back from that, and start to see how we do partake in these stories, and how we can be effective in changing some of the scripts. So the bard, there's lots of different definitions of the root of the word bard, but as far as I can understand it, the word bard seems to come from the idea of the poet or the minstrel, which we have very much in some of the Celtic archetypes of the lands where I am here in Scotland. But also there's a way of defining bad which is about praise. Now the word praise, I just love that word, and just that kind of sense that we're living this prayer all the time. We're um, we're we're really in communion with something, and if we can find ways to be more conscious of that and find practices and ways of connecting that brings us closer to everything, then there can be this real harmonic, beautiful way of processing the world and being in the world, a meaningful way of being in the world that can happen. And this praise, this word praise that the bard is connected to, for me, connects a lot with the idea of ecstatic practice, which shamanism, one of the definitions of shamanism is the ecstatic practice when we open up to so much more than we consensually believe is there. So bard became just one of my fascinations. Who am I as a bard? As a bard that can praise and connect. And I start to just keep going with this premise of moving into nature, deeper into nature, being with nature. I really love the Wild Merlin story, which some of you might know, which is one of the stories that's in Story Compass that you work with in the East. And the story of Merlin when he goes into nature, and he just runs away from all the difficult and sad and brutal parts about humanity, and nature educates him to just get into that place of deep connection, and he finds himself as a natural being within that. And then he's called back by the harp, that his sister sends a harpist into the woods. This is such a fast way of telling this story, but I think you'll get the gist and feel it. And then he comes back to the world, and he brings what he's learned and what he's connected with, that energy, back into humanity again. So the bard and the one who is able to just really be in nature and connect with nature is at the core of most of the things that I do with the story work that I do. And what I'm looking to just take you into a little bit today is a way of working with connecting to the trees, and to opening up a way, a little practice which I just call a creative practice, really, so that bard within, that one who can be in connection with and understand and open up to the way of nature and the way of the many realms, can more come to the center. So I'm going to invite you now to just feel that circle around you again. Just connect again in with the land where you are. And just inviting the trees. Just noticing, perhaps you're taken to some trees that you know that are there. Perhaps you can see them in the land outside. And then just invite in your mind's eye a grove of trees to surround the space that you're in. Often use the phrase, every tree that ever there was, ever there is, and ever there will be. Really connecting in with the community of trees. And then inviting us all to feel ourselves as part of a wider circle together. So we're listening today or on another day maybe. And feel the circle of trees around us all. And then just ask one tree to just make itself known behind you. See which tree comes into place behind you. Perhaps you need to sit up to feel it against your back. And just be curious. What's this tree that's come forward for you today? And then just going into your imagination or into the mythical, I invite you to just touch the tree. Imagine yourself touching the tree. What's the bark like? What are the branches like? How about the roots? Are they long? Do they stretch? What do they feel like? Has this tree got any buds? Any catkins? What time of year is this tree coming through to you from? And invite you to connect with your sense of smell and imagine that you can, call it in the book, sniff this tree. Just notice what that's like, to just breathe in the air around the tree and what that feels like. And then your ears, just invite you in your mind's eye to just notice the sounds that come with the weather and the tree. And with your eyes, imagine your eyes searching the texture, the patterns on the tree. How does that feel? And then lastly, taste. Could you imagine yourself tasting the tree? As children, as babies, we have to taste everything to get to know it before. That's the way that we find that relationship. Um, just imagining that connection with the tree there. And then connecting with the roots of the tree, the trunk of the tree, the branches of the tree, the leaves that might be there now in your mind's eye or might be about to come. And then the fruits of the tree or the seeds of the tree. And then feeling yourself with the tree. Just acknowledging this process, this cycle of life. That is the rooting, the growing, the form, and then the seeds of the new. And then as you stand with this tree, let's make a suggestion. Let's offer an idea that this creative process can be the bardic nature, the way of creative flow. And as you breathe next to the tree, I invite you to just register, acknowledge the bardic nature within you as one who lives through the seasons of the year, as one who works and breathes and lives with the cycles of time. And invite you to just ask the tree in your imaginary realm world here to bring a seed for you. Notice what this seed is. And perhaps you begin to notice what the tree is. Maybe you can ask, who are you, tree? What kind of tree are you, if it's not clear? Although the name isn't totally important, it's more the connection that's key. And then with the seed that's appeared, maybe imagine it in your hand right now, and just holding the seed in your mind's eye in your hand. And invite you as you hold the seed to connect in with the initiator. Bring the seed to the part of you that's the initiator, or the one who knows, or the sensor, the one who senses. Just feel into your body and just notice where that part might be. For me, it's very much here. One of the definitions of the word shaman is they, she, or he who knows. And we're looking at the creative process as coming from a deep place of really bringing that knowing to have a place of authority, and to listen to that within yourself and within everything. And what we're doing here is we're bringing the knowing of the tree, that vital spark that's a seed that's it's going to grow to meet that knowing and that spark of what's coming through within you. So this is the beginning of the bardic flow, basically. And in the book Trees Are Our Letters, we're really taking you through a journey with 10 trees to bring that bardic nature of the self to meet the tree, and to go through a process of connection by finding out about the law, by being with the senses with the tree, by opening up to the creative process of the tree and the medicine that the tree has. And then with each tree, with the seeding, there's then the invitation to work with an exercise that can start you writing or can start you creating in some way. So what I would recommend that you do, if you want to follow this further, is just that knowing, that inspiration that you connected with there, and that idea of the bard, is to work with just being with the seed, and just going with ideas and visions that can come through as you connect with that. So maybe let's just sit for another minute now to begin that. And then you can go and maybe do some writing later if you want to, or some painting, or some creating out in nature, making shapes and patterns. Um, but yeah, if you just want to just feel yourself with that initiator within you, with that knowing, that bardic nature that we're calling it's within you, and then that seed, bringing that seed to meet you. And then just bring in from your head. I often say drop down from your head and take it to where that knowing is. Just anything that's in your life right now that's feeling like it's needing attention, or anything that you might be holding as a wish, you can bring to that knowing, to that initiator. And just notice what that's like as it drops down. So an example could be to be able to understand a situation or be able to move somewhere. And then just notice as you drop this into this place of the initiator, the beginnings of the inspiration, the Bardic nature within you, what images come, what that feels like. For some people, this can feel like a warmth or a holding, and there's a sense of just allowing the wisdom of the tree to just really surround you, and you sense it as a feeling. For others, there can be lots of images that come, and what I recommend you do is just start to write these down. Just listen to everything, even if it's just very small. A rendezvous with the bard within, the bardic nature. So I think we can stay there and just thank the seed, thank the tree, thank the grove of trees, and we'll just release ourselves from that tuning in space now, but we'll still feel the space really holding us. So yeah, so that's just a kind of idea of just this way of working with the bardic nature and trees. But basically, over the years, I begin the book by just talking about how trees felt like they've saved my life at different points, and they hold a space that's so robust and so incredible, that takes us beyond the everyday human plane. And one of the things that you can do from the exercise we've just done then is maybe go for a walk, just carrying this intention and that idea of the seed, and seeing what comes up on your pathway as well, and treating it as like I call them sign walks or medicine walks. That whatever comes into view is part of the field of a flow opening. But in the book Trees Are Our Letters, yeah, just really just take you into how an idea of connecting with the trees and knowing just how strongly the trees hold us. And my advice always is just to really work with what you know, and the trees that you've already felt having a big connection with. And I just want to complete by talking about why the book is called Trees Are Our Letters. And some of you, maybe all of you, will know about the Ogham. It's pronounced differently according from where you are, but the Ogham, or Ogham, is the Druidic alphabet working with the trees, and the trees, basically the sounds of the trees are the letters, are our letters. So, for example, B is birch tree. So I just love that idea that we're always speaking with the trees. The sounds of the trees they're in our language, they're connected with us. And one of my passions is really to help, along with, I know, all the other moon authors. We all work in that earth centered spiritual matrix way. I think I hope it's okay to call that, and it defines something that's universal there for the other authors. But that's that sense of that we're all interconnected. And I think the work that I do with the creative process, enabling the creative process, and really listening to everyone and seeing what everything everyone's attracted to, and being able to help people to get to spaces where we can tune in more consciously to the way that nature and the other realms are communicating with us. It's that opening up to that communion and seeing that it's there all the time, and it's actually something that's incredibly innate in us. That's really my practice, and then I hope I've helped you to give a feel of that for you around my work with children. That it's born with us. We're born with it, and if we can start to just listen to nature, and in this case the trees, and start to be creative with them, then we can open up to be much more connected and happy, praising, and flowing versions of ourselves, and come into more of that place of what I believe is originally, what the original shamans, seers, visionaries, priestesses, priests would have been. They'd have been. I always feel that as being like the caretakers of the earth that could really listen to all the different departments. Some of us have that that gift, but that gift is developed, and it's within all of us really, because we practice it and because we keep on listening and we keep on opening, creating spaces where we can listen to that. But yeah, that version of those caretakers I often see as being like the original lawyers, the ones who helped keep the balance by listening to everything and finding out what's needed. um, so yeah, the bard, the one who communicates and listens and brings through. It all comes from the bardic nature, comes from being available to be in nature and have these moments of yeah, deep connection. And yeah, hopefully trees are our letters will be something that you might want to have a look at as a way of really setting off more with that practice. And lastly, the story compass material. You felt me opening the space at the beginning with what I call the 4 directions theatre wheel. So I work a lot, as I said, as a constellation therapist as well. With some of you might know family constellation work. So the wheel that I work with listens to the information, the body, the lifeline, the ancestors, and the mythical, and sees that what we're living today is a product of all of that. It's and some of us are drawn back and have affinities to patterns that have been there from previously in our lifetimes or previous lifetimes, or the ancestral, or from the mythical codes that are there according to the cultures that we're in, or sometimes previous lifetimes. So this way of working with story is quite dynamic. You go off on a journey in a ship, and you're the captain of your own ship, and you're learning all about what story is. So the bard becomes more of an engineer as well, who's helping you to just tap into and find out how to unhook yourself from certain stories, or to become more empowered within your own stories. And within this, I've got 4 stories. I've got Merlin, as I mentioned earlier. I've got Mother Goose, who starts us off, and then I've got Sleeping Beauty's Prince, the story there of the initiation that he's going through with the ancestors, and then Anansi as the one in the mythical, of the spider, to work with too. So yeah, bardic nature and trees. Go out there and find a tree, find your trees, and I'd love to hear from you if this talk's been inspiring or helpful for you. Thank you. So I think now I'm just going to just feel the space that I opened, just gently closing, but staying there and ready for everyone else who will be speaking today. And if there's any questions, I think this is now my time for answering any questions. If anybody wants to type any questions into the side panel, then I'd be happy to try and answer them. Although I very much believe that knowing is within each of us. Perhaps I can bring some inspiration into anything that you might bring to ask. I've just found the column, everybody. Oh my, there's lots of beautiful messages. So I'll read some of them out. So Suzanne, hi. She says hello. Claire, hello. Good afternoon. Tony, oh, thank you. Luna, thank you. Hannah, oh wow, I'd love to read your poems for the trees that you've met and known. And Longman Tarot, thank you too. Who knows Tony? Who says hi to Tony? Hi, Maureen. Tony's saying hi to Vichy. And then Janine. Hi, Janine. And Moonbooks. Thank you. That's beautiful. So does anybody have a question? Oh, I've got a question. Do you have a favourite tree you love to work with? I I have favourite trees that, yeah, I'll tell you about one where I used to live in Wormit on the side of Dragon Hill. There was a hawthorn tree there that I used to go and sit with for absolutely years. And I had this mission to connect to the fairy and the Carlock through it. I set it up as part of a course. So that's an all-time favourite, and so many amazing things happened around that tree. And I would say that the tree that came through then in the circle was elm, and the elm. So I guess elm is, yeah, elm is my favourite tree today. I want to ask you all questions. It just goes one way, doesn't it? Any more questions? Maybe I can share a little bit from the book then before, and then I'll just watch to see if any questions come up on the screen. But there's one of the trees which is cherry tree. So that question, do I have a favourite tree to work with? Um, where I lived previously, we had a cherry tree in the garden, and just really got to know the cherry and its amazing blossom. But cherry, it's got a lot of there's the law that I bring in with it, but it's sense of bringing good fortune, new beginnings, and revival, and just the big blessing that the cherry tree brings, really, and the connection to heart medicine that's there. So what I do in the book is, talk to you about the ancestors and how they've eaten cherries since prehistoric times, and just the lifting of the spirit that can happen as well with the cherry tree. um, but the piece with the cherry for writing with is really to take the seeds from the tree, um, and to take it to the piece in ancient mythology that the fruit of the cherry tree contains the elixir that gives the gods their immortality. So it was really, in Chinese law, believed that, if you that the magical phoenix slept on a bed of cherry blossom to bless it with everlasting life. So the invitation here is to take a cherry with a stone inside it and put it on your beating heart, and then really tune into the stone to connect with your heart and feel how it strengthens the immortal and the immortal, and get to know your immortal self and your immortal self. And just ask your immortal self, if you were in a story, what character would you be? What mission would you be? Um, and what are you in love with or deeply care about in this immortal role? So that's a really beautiful one that connects you in with the mythical more. Ah, we've got some chat about elm. Yeah, I think it is often forgotten about, isn't it? Elm's the eighth tree in here as well. And Susanna, you're a water sign, more connected to the ocean and the moon. Oh, I love the moon and the ocean too. Maybe we'll write another book about selkies and seals, and stories there. So thank you, everybody. Oh, here we are. Any unusual tree connections? Hannah's asking. Um, yeah, that's a good question. A good word, unusual. Unusual tree connections. Let me just tune into that. I have got a story once about when, I don't know if any of you know the oak. I cannot believe, Maureen, could you type up the name of this oak? Um, the the um, the oak. I'm a fire sign, Susanna, but I'm Cancer ascendant. Um, yeah, there's an oak, and it's hollow, and it's the most ancient oak allegedly in Scotland. And I once went to this oak tree when I was really struggling with something, and I just my guides were really saying, take it to the oak. and I had the most incredible experience. And yeah, just felt a huge clearing sitting inside this oak tree. So that's an unusual tree connection. Moon books are asking, are you planning any more books? I do have another a sequel to this book. If you want to talk about that, working with the mountains and mythology, and working with mountains in Scotland and mythology. And I think, oh, I've got another one. The Burnham Oak. Thank you, Maureen. Yeah, the Burnham Oak. That was my tree connection. And Hannah wrote a poem for Sakura. Oh, I want to read all these poems now. Thank you. And how do you recover from finding your trees killed or dying? Example from storm damage. That's such a beautiful question. Yeah. I guess I mean, how I would recover, it's really hard, isn't it? But I do a journey to the spirit of the tree. I once had an experience in my garden where a rowan tree, there was a storm, and I saw it, and I just had a premonition that it would fall, and then I went later and it had fallen, but I just asked that it missed the house, but did some work with that tree, just really journeying to it, and that was really beautiful. And then there was a sycamore as well that died in that garden as well, because the garden was so wet. But then I had experiences with the sycamore spirit after that. So I guess there's something around just blessing and listening, and also knowing that somewhere there's a sense of eternal life as well. That would be me. But I work with something called land healing as well, that I call land healing, where just ask these in the West. I have what I work with called pillars of light, just asking that healing can be brought to places as well. Some more new comments. Oh, Willow. Oh, yeah, I remember the willow trees vividly as a child as well. And you used to sit in it for hours. I wonder what you were talking about together, Suzanne. So, I think it's time to finish now. But thank you for coming, and thank you for everyone who comes on and listens or watches later. And thank you, Moonbooks, for being, yeah, such a lovely publisher, and for having me as part of the talk. Thank you. See you all later. The space is closed. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.